With our college football pick show here for Wednesday. Of course, we're already into week 5, and we're going to give you a part 3. We're going to get all 58 done. By the time we finish this video, we'll have 28 of them done. We have 10 free today. Before we get to just a couple things, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Free college football picks are updated all season long. Free picks every day from all the major sports. We also have NFL. We have Major League Baseball and more. It's a good time to subscribe. And also, if you would support our channel, hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Remember, visit TonySpicks.com, our multi-capper site showcasing our top cappers in our industry. Click the link to the hot cappers and get signed up to one of our long-term passes. You'll find them here on our site. You'll find our best bet of the day. Each capper can designate one best bet per sport. You'll see the cappers do that here. And of course, all of our individual plays and one-offs are profit guaranteed. Must turn a profit, or the amount you purchase is credited back to your account for site credits. That's what profit guarantee is. Also, a $15 pick. Each capper can designate one of their picks, premium picks, as a $15 premium pick, just to introduce you to our service. You'll find them there on our site. Want to make note of our promo code. You can save 20% off all premium pick packages. When you use a promo code TonyT at checkout, you can access our page by clicking the link in the description, then the All Cappers tab to get signed up. Also, love to hear from you guys, so post your picks in the comments below. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get this one started. Northwestern versus Penn State college football pick Saturday. Northwestern fell to 1-3 after their 17-14 home defeat to Miami, Ohio. Wildcats' run game generated only 107 yards on 31 carries against this MAC team and finished with a -2 turnover margin. South Carolina transfer quarterback Ryan Helinski, a 24 of 42, just 5.5 yards per pass attempt. He had only 5 yards per pass attempt in their home loss to FCS Southern Illinois. Now Penn State 4-0 after that 33-14 home win to Central Michigan for the MAC. Nittany Lions moved the football for 402 yards and limited the Chippewas on the ground. A +4 turnover margin for Penn State. Quarterback Sean Clifford on the season, completing 64% of his passes, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick, 7.6 yards per pass attempt. He's also a threat to run with 4 rushing touchdowns. Now the Wildcats are moving the football for 445 yards this season with 304 in the passing game. They haven't really been blown out in any of their losses, so the play will be on Northwestern +26.5. Michigan State and Maryland college football pick Saturday. Michigan State fell 2-2 after a 24-7 home defeat to Minnesota. Spartans were shut out until a 27-yard touchdown pass in the closing seconds. A poor showing on both ends for Michigan State. They gained only 240 yards of offense, but they gave up 528 yards to the Golden Gophers, 240 of it on the ground. Now, quarterback Peyton Thorne is averaging just 5.5 yards per pass attempt for Michigan State in his 24 passes, but had 2 interceptions and 1 fumble in defeat. Now, Maryland 4-1 after their 34-27 road defeat at Michigan. Terrapins covered in this tough spot and were able to move the ball through the air. Tyler Tagovailoa probable, but looks to rebound off a 2 interception performance here against Michigan. He is completing 74% of his passes this season, 9.3 yards per pass attempt. They struggled to defend the Wolverines' run game, allowing 243 yards on 40 carries. The Spartans' pass defense was poor last season. This season, not looking good as they're giving up 265 yards, 64 completion rate percent, and a 7.7 yards per pass attempt. So the play here will be on Maryland -7.5. Miami, Ohio versus Buffalo college football pick Saturday. Miami improved to 2-2 off their 17-14 road win at Northwestern. Redhawks scored the final 10 points in the win. They gained only 282 yards, but did have a +2 turnover margin. Miami, Ohio did a good job of defending the run, holding Northwestern to only 107 yards on 31 carries. Freshman quarterback Avion Smith completing 48% of his passes with 5.2 yards per pass attempt. Starting quarterback Brett Gabbert, he's expected to miss the season with an upper body injury. Now, Buffalo, they improved to 1-3 after their 50-31 road win at Eastern Michigan. It was the Bulls' best offensive showing as they gained 491 yards. Rutgers transfer quarterback Cole Snyder coming off a strong performance at Eastern Michigan, 297 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 10.2 yards per pass attempt. He did struggle at Maryland, but was good against the mid-major and FCS schools he faced. It's really a tough spot for a MAC team to play in Buffalo. Miami, Ohio, weak pass defense concern here with how good the Bulls have played of late in the passing game. Play here will be Buffalo -1.5. Iowa State and Kansas college football pick Saturday. Iowa State fell to 3-1 after their 31-24 home defeat to Baylor. Cyclones' run game produced only 66 yards on 27 carries and finished with a -2 turnover margin. Other than his 2 interceptions, quarterback Hunter Deckers, well, he threw for 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7.9 yards for pass attempt, so that looked pretty good. Now, Kansas, they're 4-0 with their 35-27 home win to Duke. It was the Jayhawks' best offensive showing with 528 yards. They did give up 324 passing yards, though, on 36 attempts. Quarterback Jalen Daniels threw for 324 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 14 yards per pass attempt in the win. He doesn't run much, but when he does, it's usually for chunks of yardage. The player will be Kansas at +3. Oklahoma State and Baylor college football pick Saturday. Oklahoma State 3-0 after their 63-7 home win to FCS Arkansas Pine Bluff behind 540 yards. Now, they have moved the football effectively in wins at home to Arizona State and Central Michigan. Oklahoma State senior quarterback Spencer Sanders is completing 65% of his passes, 10 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 9.6 yards per pass attempt. A sore spot was the defense in the second half of their win at home to Central Michigan as they gave up a total of 516 yards and 44 points. Now, Baylor, they improved to 3-1 after the 31-24 road win at Iowa State. Bears built up a 31-14 lead midway through the fourth quarter, cruised home. Bears defense limited the Cyclones to only 66 yards rushing on 27 carries, and they also benefited from a +2 turnover margin. Baylor quarterback Blake Shapan had his best game against an FBS school, completing 73% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, and 8 yards per pass attempt. Bears playing the better defense, and that second half showing by the Cowboys against Central Michigan against the pass really a concern. The play here will be Baylor -1.5. Virginia Tech and North Carolina college football pick Saturday. Virginia Tech fell to 2-2 after their 33-10 home defeat to West Virginia. Another poor offensive performance here against a power conference team as the Hokies were held just 228 yards. They ran for only 35 yards on 18 carries. Marshall's transfer quarterback Grant Wells is completing 60% of his passes with 5 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 6.4 yards per pass attempt. He had a poor showing in defeat with 45% completions, 5.5 yards per attempt. Now, North Carolina, they fell to 3-1. They lose 45-32 at home to a down Notre Dame team. Tar Heels defense gave up 576 yards to the Fighting Irish, who has struggled offensively this season. North Carolina surrendered 287 rushing yards on 51 carries, 289 through the pass on 34 attempts in that one. Quarterback Drake May is completing 69% of his passes with 16 touchdowns, a pick, and 9.5 yards per pass attempt, but just not comfortable laying a big number with North Carolina's based on their defense giving up 495 yards a game since Virginia. Also Virginia Tech defensively does limit their opponents to 255 yards, and Hokies also holding opponents to just 22% on third down. The play will be Virginia Tech at +9. Central Michigan and Toledo college football pick Saturday. Central Michigan fell to 1-3 after their 33-14 road defeat at Penn State. Chippewas really struggled with defending the Alliance run game and finished with a -4 turnover margin. Quarterback Daniel Richardson is completing only 57% of his passes for 6.5 yards per pass attempt and a huge drop from his past 2 seasons. He is questionable with a shoulder. Backup J.S. Bauer went 3 of 7 for 40 yards in relief last week. Toledo's 2-2 after their 17-14 road defeat at San Diego State. Rockets gave up 1 yard rushing touchdown in the closing seconds of that one. Now, Toledo defended the pass well, but surrendered 217 yards on 33 carries on the ground. Rockets gave away the game with 4 turnovers, and they just forced 1. Quarterback DeQuan Finn did move the football through the air against San Diego State for 240 yards, but threw 3 interceptions. He is a dual threat to run. It was a tough back-to-back facing Ohio State and San Diego State on the road. We'll take the points here behind a high-octane Chippewas offense. The play will be Central Michigan here at +7. Wake Forest versus Florida State college football pick for Saturday. Wake Forest fell to 3-1 after their 51-45 home defeat in overtime to Clemson. Demon Deacons offense just fell short on the ground. They didn't run the football effectively, but they did surrender 559 yards to that Tigers offense, 188 rushing. The Wake Forest quarterback Sam Harton did his job, completed 20 of 29, 337 yards, 6 touchdowns. But Florida State moved here to 4-0 after their 44-14 home win to Boston College. Seminoles wrote up 530 yards on the Eagles' running game for 180 is what they did on the ground. 530 was the overall number. Now, defensively, they held BC to only 235 yards for the game. Now, quarterback Jordan Travis for Florida State is completing 2/3 of his passes with 10.5 yards per pass attempt, so he's getting the ball downfield. Seminoles offense showing good balance and should be able to move the football on Wake Forest, who has issues defensively. The play here will be Wake Forest and Florida State over 64. Alabama versus Arkansas college football pick Saturday. Alabama improved to 4-0 after their 55-3 home win to Vanderbilt. They rolled up 628 yards in the win. In their lone true road game, the Crimson Tide got past Texas 2019, but failed to cover as a 3-point favorite. Now, Bryce Young in that game averaged only 5.5 yards per pass attempt. Arkansas comes off the 23-21 neutral site to defeat the Texas A&M. Boy, Razorbacks blew a 14-0 lead after one quarter. They missed the game-winning field goal as time expired, which was a makeable one. A key turnover was instrumental in the Aggies' return, that fumble return for a touchdown. Razorbacks run for 244 yards on 54 carries. Now, KJ Jefferson is completing 69% of his passes for 8 touchdowns, a pick, and 9.7 yards per attempt. A major threat to run, no doubt. In that Texas game, the Crimson Tide gave up 292 passing yards for a 67% completion rate and 8.6 yards per pass attempt. So the play here will be on Arkansas plus 17.5. Ooh, excuse me. Need some rest. Ohio versus Kent college football pick. This one here goes off on Saturday. Ohio moved to 2-2 after their 59-52 home win to FCS Fordham behind 692 yards in that game. So it was a pretty good performance there by the Bobcats, but it was against an FCS team. Remember, they were held to under 300 yards on losses to Iowa State and Penn State. Now, quarterback Kevin Wark is completing 69% of his passes with 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 8.1 yards per pass attempt. Kent drops to 1-3 with their 39-22 road defeat at Georgia. Their win came at home to FCS Long Island with losses at Georgia, Oklahoma, and Washington. Golden Flashes quarterback Colin Sclee is completing 62% of his passes with 9 yards per pass attempt. And he did face some tough competition. Ohio defense has been torched here for 538 yards per game, 5.1 per rush, 71% completion rate, and 9.3 yards per pass attempt. The play here will be on Kent, minus 11.5. That was our college football pick show here for today. Make sure to like, subscribe, set notifications, visit TonySpace.com for our premium picks, and don't forget the promo code TonyT at checkout. You'll save 20% off on Tony T. More picks come up later on.